Hello everyone, welcome back to Press for Truth TV on today, Friday the 13th, 2012, which for some out there is a unlucky and scary sounding date. And interesting little tidbit of info on the history of Friday the 13th and why it's considered unlucky. Many researchers have tracked this back as far as the late 13th and early 14th century during the rise of the Knights Templar to power. At the time, they were respected. They were considered a respectable organization in society. They were, you could call them ministers of finance at the time. They were the military at the time. They were knights. And the King of France and the Pope at the time had officially sanctioned the order. So they were regarded as a respectable organization. However, it didn't take too long for people to begin investigating who these guys really were and what they were all about, and they began to find out that they indeed had some very sinister motives, and that they were highly involved in occult practices. For example, the initiation ceremony to get into the inner circle of the Knights Templar would require that you do this ritual where you had to deny Christ as the divinity, and you had to spit on the image of Christ, and you had to bow down and worship their god, which was this androgynous goat-headed figure that they called Baphomet. So this obviously upset the Pope at the time and the King of France, and a decree was set out. The Templars were officially banned. Many of them were rounded up and imprisoned. A lot of their head leaders, like Jacques Demolay, was executed on the spot. A lot of them were burned at the stake. And this decree went out on Friday the 13th, 1307. And as I said, many researchers have tracked back this concept of that day being unlucky to that very moment in time. Meanwhile, of course, the Templars didn't just disappear in 1307. They just merely went underground. They became a little bit more secretive. They gathered the wealth of their organization and laid low for a while and sought out refuge in Scotland. And later they eventually emerged as what we now know today as the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. So little interesting bit of info on the history of Friday the 13th. Of course, you won't find that in any of your history books because, as I'm sure already most of you already know, the global elite have long ago bought out and own and control the education system as well as the media. So if you're hoping to look that up in your history books, you're not going to find it, but there you have it. But on another note, entirely unrelated, I got an email this morning with a little bit of info about a film festival that we've been accepted into for our film Into the Fire, a documentary on the G20. It's been accepted as an official selection up for an award at the Surge Film Festival. And the first few screenings are going to be taking place in Austin, Texas on February 21st and 22nd. And then there's a few more screenings coming up in April in Los Angeles, California. So I'll put a link to that festival in the description. And I'm going to try, if I can at the time, to make it down to California to attend. I've gone to a number of festivals now. Some of you may know, just a few months back I was in South Korea for their film festival, which was an amazing experience. And last year Brian and I went to Wisconsin's for a film festival. And coincidentally, recently I just got in the mail an award. We were also an official selection in Huntsville's Film North Festival, and we won Best Documentary. And I just got the award in the mail the other day, and here it is. A white antler. Yeah. Don't really know what I'm gonna do with that. It says Film North winner, best documentary, Into the Fire, Stephen Davies, Dan Dix, Brian Law. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, it is nice to be recognized for your work, especially from industry insiders, people who are involved with film. So, and it gains a lot of exposure for the film. So many people are going to see it who normally wouldn't have. So this is certainly a good thing. So anyways, just got that recently and that info today, so I wanted to share that with you. But some of the main things I wanted to point out to you today are two articles that came to my attention last night. And here is the first one from Parliament Now, Embassy. Biometrics programs prompt privacy concerns. The Canadian government's introduction of two new programs could involve the sharing of sensitive personal information, such as fingerprints, from government to private sector companies, and from government to government, which has privacy advocates concerned whether proper safeguards are being used to minimize risk. Goes on to say here, implementing biometrics will bring Canada in line with other countries. And no doubt they're referring to the United States because, as we know, we've been tracking for years now a concentrated effort to unite Canadian and American authorities closer and closer together, and this new introduction of implementing biometrics for Canadians is going to basically put Canadians and Americans together on a database where everything you do can be tracked. This is straight out of George Orwell's 1984 Big Brother type of scenario. But this pales in comparison to this other article, which really blew my mind. I just found out that this was recently introduced and is now currently being implemented over in India. India launches universal ID system with biometrics. India has launched an ambitious program to fit each of its 1.2 billion residents with a unique identification number. Each number will be tied to 3 pieces of biometric data: fingerprints, all 10 digits, iris scans, both your eyes, and a picture of the face. And it goes down to say here, this is a mammoth program. While residents are not mandated to get a UID, a growing list of services, including social welfare and even some bank accounts, will soon require the identification number. If successful, this will be the first biometrically verified universal ID implemented on a national scale. India is forging new ground, drawing both fears and hopes of what a national ID number may bring with it. So they are implementing this identification number for all 1.2 billion of their residents. In fact, they're currently processing 1 million people a day. That's a lot of finger scanning, a lot of eye scanning going on. And of course, they say right now that this is not mandatory. You don't have to get it. But at the very same time, they admit that banks are implementing the changes and you're going to have it to use a bank. I've read in other articles that hospitals also, and various government programs. So yeah, you don't have to get it, but if you want to get money out of the bank, if you want to get food from the grocery store, if you want to go to the hospital, you're going to have to get it. So essentially, you will have to get it. So this is an unbelievable advancement in the goals of the New World Order in regards to tracking every individual on this planet on a massive database. very similar to what George Orwell pointed out in his book 1984, where he discussed what a big brother world would look like. And he envisioned it as, if you want to get a picture of what this will be like in the future, picture a boot stomping on a human face forever. So this is unbelievable development. I'm pretty surprised that they're going through with this, and I'm thinking this weekend I'm going to work on a video to get a little bit more in depth about this, these new changes that are being implemented, because again, it's done incrementally, and people won't really take any notice to this until it's already too late and every single person is being tracked on a database by Big Brother government. So anyways, guys, I'll leave you with that for now, and after the weekend I'll hopefully have a video up with a little bit more detail on this topic. But that's it for today. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you right back here on Monday. Okay, take care.